in order to further elucidate it from his own system of thought.
Vanuit hun eigen denksysteem. For
Chomsky, the concept of creativity plays an important role, and the following part of the debate will be largely dedicated to this issue. For Chomsky, creativity is actually a characteristic of all human beings. Everybody uses it. People stuck in traffic who unexpectedly and on the spot have to think about what to do next. The educator who doesn't want to fall into a pattern of authoritarian behavior, and when confronted with a difficult pupil has to invent new behavior. But above all, this creativity applies to the child who learns a language and who curiously learns to produce new language.
Nieuwe taal te produceren, te maken.
Foucault is opposed to this idea. He constantly emphasizes the so-called epistemological field in which human activity takes place. This epistemological field, or episteme, is described as the totality of unconscious rules that manage the totality of all separated fields of knowledge. Foucault also talks of tableau, and also calls it system of elements, and in the debate the word grill is mentioned, bar or grid. Perhaps it's best to speak of a network within which everybody in a particular culture thinks, whether they want it or not. It is a certain set of rules to which everybody's thinking obeys, and with which people search for identity, coherency, and so forth. The system is not a creation of particular individuals. It decides the rules of the think and do habits we call culture, which every individual is subjected to. Such a system is not a thing or idea, but lies precisely in between these. For Foucault, the history of thought is not to be associated with the history of ideas, or even the development of the mind, but rather it should be understood as discontinuous transformations, transitioning from one network to another. That is a totally different approach from that of Chomsky, for whom creativity plays a central role. At this point, we encounter Foucault's dethroning of the subject, as already illustrated with the example of Galileo. The philosophy of Foucault is a philosophy in which the philosopher constantly disappears from sight. One could say that, paradoxically, it is a philosophy without philosophers, an idea to be generalized because humans are, according to Foucault, greatly absent within their own culture. In this respect, Foucault's strong and negative reaction towards the moderator who showed interest in private matters of his life.
Wanneer de gespreksleider belangstelling begint te vertonen voor privéaspecten van zijn bestaan.
When Foucault debates, it is about everything except Foucault himself. This is an introduction to the following quite detailed theoretical part of the debate, which seems to mainly focus on one question. To what extent is the individual able to discover something new, and if so, how should we make sense of this? This seems to me a very relevant question, especially if we remind ourselves that we need quite some new forms of behavior, knowledge, and science if we want to survive together in this world.